So in the vein of compassion, we have a great speaker today. Her name is Blanchard, and she's the leader of the Grateful Garment Project. And so that's a nonprofit that seeks that no victim of sexual assault should ever experience further suffering due to lack of resources. Sexual assault victims are often asked to give up their clothes as part of the medical examination, or after medical examination as part of the evidence, and so they often end up leaving the hospital in just a hospital garment. And so Lisa's project helps provide resources and clothing so that victims of sexual assault can have some dignity as they, go on with their lives. So I also want to thank all of you who are able to help participate in the underwear drive and the clothing drive that we have for Lisa today. And I'd like to have you welcome Lisa to the stage.
Okay, up there next to you, stop there. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. I am so glad to be here. Wow, I feel so inspired, Richard, by your readings and the music. I remember last time that I came, I was really touched by the music too. It's always interesting. You can listen to, on the radio, you can listen to music, but when you actually sing it and have the words to it, it just changes it so much. It just makes it deeper and richer. So, I'm supposed to be patient. Okay. So the Grateful Garment Project, Mike explained a little bit about it, and I see some new faces, so I'm going to touch a little bit on what we actually do. Some of you that have already heard about it, just bear with me, okay? Be compassionate. So sexual violence, unfortunately, is a real problem. It's a real problem all over the world. It's a subject that many people don't want to talk about because we all think, what can I do? Or it only happens there, or somewhere else. It doesn't happen where I live, right? And the reality is that it's happening all around us all the time. There we go. So the mission, basically we're in the business of dignity. We help return dignity to people who've had it stolen through some form of sexual violence. That includes sexual assaults, children that are sexually abused, human sexual trafficking, and commercially sexually exploited children that are sold for sex or pornography. And again, people think, wow, this isn't happening where I live. This isn't happening here. But do you know that the number one place in the U.S. for human sexual trafficking is the San Francisco Bay Area? It's happening more here than anywhere else, right? 3 of the top 10 locations for this is in California. San Francisco Bay Area, Sacramento area, and San Diego area. And it's not because of borders might be part of it. It's the major transportation routes because they move people around like cattle. So, this was released recently by the San Jose City Council, and I'm just showing it to you because it's growing, unfortunately. The numbers are growing. The statistics prove that it's increasing at an alarming rate. Some people might say, is it because of the Me Too movement or the Hollywood? And I'm sure that's part of the factor. It's estimated that only 20 or 25% of people that are ever violated report their violation. But the reality is, here in the Bay Area especially, we live 20 minutes in any way around a college campus. We're the most densely populated state in the United States, so just by sheer numbers, it's going to be more prevalent. And it's alarming, it's surprising, because I feel like we are an environment of highly educated, open-minded, for the most part, liberal society, and yet it's still happening all around us. So, what do we do about it? The Grateful Garment Project, basically, when somebody is sexually violated, they report it. They end up at the hospital where they undergo the forensic exam, like Maya was talking about. That exam in itself is a 3.5-hour exam minimum. And as a part of it, they step onto a sheet and they remove articles of clothing one by one, and each item is put into a bag. And when it's all done, there's nothing for them to wear. So as they're given things like a hospital gown to wear home. Or there may be some clothes, the nurses and the advocates that are there are providing them out of their own pocket, kind of like teachers provide school supplies. But what we do is we go to these places where they do these exams and we establish clothing closets. Or if there is a clothing closet, we fully stock it. And we stock it with every size between infant toddler to a 4 or 5X adult, both male and female clothing. So no matter what age, shape, size, gender, ethnicity, whatever, there are always brand new clothes for people to wear at home. Because what we believe is dignity is essential in life, you know? If you think about it, this, for many people, will be the most horrible experience they'll ever know in life. And the simple fact of not having something to wear home, in my mind, is like adding insult to injury. So last year, in our year 17-18, we gave away over 43,000 items. This year, that just ended a couple days ago, the rough estimate is that we've given away about 58,000 items. Look at this is an item, this is an item, all over California. Last time I came and saw you guys, we were working with agencies in 34 counties. And in this past year, we've gone from providing resources in 34 counties to providing resources in 48 counties in California. We're working with 102 agencies. Thank you very much. There are 2 additional counties pending, and when I speak of counties, I speak of the geographic region, not the governmental institutions. A sexual assault response team is set up on a county-by-county basis. And so we go in and we create a further safety net for all of the agencies and the people working on the front line. And it has been a wild ride. So what do those numbers actually mean? They're numbers. They don't represent anybody's face, right? Or anybody needing help, just like some of the songs we sang today, you know? What they represent is 30 to 50 people every single day are provided clothing through the Grateful Garment Resources. Over 83% of California, probably more like 85% of California's population have access to new clothing to wear home should they need. Every single day. I mean, that's pretty amazing. In my mind. Oops. Okay. Oops. I'm gone too far. It doesn't look bad. There we go. Okay. So we have 6 programs. The first program is the one I just talked about, the resource closet. We provide clothing. Other programs have come about organically. What I didn't mention is Grateful Garment Project started as a class project for my undergraduate degree. It was never the plan to start a nonprofit. I was going to become a psychologist instead. And it was just kind of like, it just showed up, right? And it was just time to be born, and I got to be the vessel, you know? What it is that people look at sexual violence or any kind of violence a lot of times and they think, what can I do? You know, I'm one person. How can I really make a difference? And what I can say is that over the past 8 years, what's proven to be true is one person can change the world, right? It's not about flattering myself. It's just about standing up and taking a stand for what I perceive or what you perceive as right? So these different programs, I have a limited time, but at the table I have more than enough information to describe what they do. But the human sexual trafficking, CSAC, that's pretty clear. We work with people that are trafficked. The package forward program is also working with trafficking, working with law enforcement when they go in to rescue people that are literally being held hostage, like sex slaves, that kind of stuff. Youth incentive program is to incentivize young people to come back for follow-up medical appointments or counseling after being a victim of sexual violence. You know, the median age for a minor victim of sexual assault in the state of California is 9 years old. Many times people want to think of it as a woman's issue, but there's no dividing line. There's no age, there's no gender, there's no socioeconomic, educational, faith tradition, or lack thereof. There's no ethnicity, there's nothing. Like, everybody's eligible, and it's very unfortunate. I believe that we can live in a world where sexual violence is the exception and not the rule, but we're not there, we're not even close. And so, myself and my 3 members of the staff and a whole bunch of volunteers endeavor every day to make sure that those that do experience this type of trauma or crisis have resources available to them. If I could have figured out a way to start an organization that stopped it, you know, it's dead in its tracks, I would have in a heartbeat. I just didn't know how to do that. Dress for Dignity provides clothing resources for people to wear when they're making court appearances. It's estimated out of every 100 people that are sexually violated, only 6 of them ever get a day in court, and only 2 of those 6 ever receive justice for the violence committed against them. And beautification projects, we go in and we make counseling environments and the different environments people go for healing more conducive to healing. We make them a softer edge and less institutional feeling. These are some of our intended outcomes, but I think that for the most part, they're clear. You know, it's all about returning dignity and reducing stress, right? It's a stressful situation as it is. We don't want to create further damage. We want to reduce it. This is something, I have limited time, so I'm going quickly. Please forgive me. Like I said, we work with our client agencies are hospitals where the exams take place, rape crisis centers, counseling centers, safe houses, shelters, legal advocacy organizations, law enforcement, social service, youth homeless shelters, all types of agencies. So it's my hope, and it's been my hope, that anywhere and everywhere in California that an agency wants or needs our help, that we'll be there to answer that. And we're so close, you know, we're 48 counties, and we have 2 counties that have pending paperwork still. So once they get their act together, we'll be at 50, and that leaves 8 more counties. And the thing is that that's remarkable, that's amazing, right? And yet I'm constantly getting knocks, you know, or inquiries saying, can you come help us all across the U.S., constantly saying, we don't have any resources, will you help us? And even all across the world. And so it's always, you know, what was once my class project has always been so much bigger than me. And I feel so fortunate that I get to show up every day and have compassion and make a difference. And together we can, you know, change all this. People say to me all the time, what can I do, right? I'm not gonna like stop working and go start a nonprofit or something like that. That was never my plan either. I got laid off, right? And was going to school. What we can do is we can talk about it. Because as long as we don't talk about sexual violence, we talk about it with our young, we talk about it with each other, it can continue to fester and undermine the fabric of our society like a cancer, right? As long as we act like it happens somewhere else or be bystanders to it all, then it continues. And so, talk about it. You can get involved. We're primarily a volunteer-run organization. We're completely donor-funded. We receive no government monies. It's primarily people just like yourself that support the work that we do. And it's pretty remarkable that we're able to give away so much resources and have no fee for service, and it's all from the kindness of others. You can, there's definitely some things that you could do. You can invite us to speak at other places. There's micro fundraisers. I have all this information on the table. Please come and talk to me afterwards. Get some information. Share it with others. Get the word out. You know, our marketing campaign is where 2 or more gather, Lisa talks, right? We do this really big thing every day in California, and most people don't even know we exist. Let's change that. Let's change that. Let's make Grateful Garment a household name in a good light all across California, because the story is compelling and the need is real. If people understood and knew, they would want to get involved and help make a difference. To provide somebody with dignity, provide them with clothing to wear home, grooming items to clean up, and something to eat so they can take all the medications so they don't end up with some kind of horrible disease or infection. It's $50. I mean, you go out to dinner and have a glass of wine, that's $50. It's really not, compared to what a lifetime of untreated sexual violence or someone going home in a hospital, what that costs is $50 is nothing. There's some more social media stuff. I've got that at the table in case I'm going too quickly. And it's very simple. Do you want to send somebody home and paper house for them? Clothing. Any questions? Yes?
For social media related thing, I didn't see nextdoor.com there, one of the local sites. And I was wondering if you have like a proposed post that people who are on Nextdoor can share with their neighbors?
Well, the thing about Nextdoor is you have to live in that community. So like I can set it for my community, but it's not like I can set it up for all the communities.
Exactly.
So if you're willing to put up the information in your community and be like the point of contact in your community, then great. Or help us facilitate that, absolutely. All the resources we provide all have to be new. They have to be new because they're given out in a medical facility, which means that they fall under health code rules and regulations. But also, even if we could accept gently used, I feel like I need to wash them. And I don't have time to do my own laundry, I especially don't have time to do all else, right? And then the final thing is, no matter how gently used, and a lot of times that can be very subjective, by the way, if you're hurt and you're injured and you're struggling with feelings of shame and fear and all that type of stuff, no matter how gently used it is, it's still used, right? It just kind of perpetuates that icky feeling. And my word, icky is a technical term. it like perpetuates that. So yes, we would love to put it on everybody's Nextdoor. And if you're willing to help facilitate that, fantastic. Any other questions? You guys look a little dazed. I'm sorry, I'd love to come and talk about puppies or something like that. But I think that it's really a place where compassion is needed. Unfortunately, so many times in our society, we blame the victim, right? And it's so ingrained, you know. When I grew up, my mom would say to me, be careful. Don't go around these kind of people, or don't walk, you know, down a dark alley. Don't get raped, right? Like somehow, if I did, it was my own fault, right? And I know that she was doing the best that she could with the information that she had, but I can almost guarantee that she never said to my brother, don't be a rapist, right? Don't harm somebody, right? She certainly never said to me, don't sexually violate anybody else, right? And it's because people that are sexual predators can be male or female. It doesn't matter, there's no dividing line. And so we need to start understanding that sexual violence not only is happening all around us, but it's a model of behavior, and it's behavior that we blame the victims. Most sexual predators are victims first, right? And so it's not only having compassion to those that unfortunately have experienced it, but even understanding that those that have been perpetrators were probably victims first. Yes?
So I think I saw that you've given out 42,000 items.
That was last year in
Okay.
17-18.
So how many victims approximately?
You know, that's a good question. We never actually know how many that is because not everybody will take a complete full outfit. Like we don't make kits, right? We provide clothing because somebody may be one side on the bottom and another side on the top. They may want a bra or not want a bra. They may not be willing to give their clothes up. Nobody forces them to do it. They're only willing to recover their clothes. What I can tell you is the stats from the agencies that we work with said that in this year here, there were over or close to 12,000 victims that our agencies worked with in California in 34 counties. So in 48, we haven't finished collecting all the stats. I'm sure it'll be a lot more.
Do you have any idea what the value of the items, the aid, how much it was worth, dollar-wise?
Yep. So I want to understand what you're saying. Are you saying like, how much money was all
Yeah.
those items worth?
Yeah.
Oh, off the top of my head, I could tell you, but I'm gonna say between $250 and $300,000, something like that.
And the-
Wholesale bulk or donated?
One reason I'm thinking about this is it's shocking to me. I didn't know that victims of sexual abuse would be sent home without clothing.
And it's happening where you live too.
And it doesn't sound like it would be that big of a budget item for police departments or hospitals or whatever.
That's a
Yet-
great subject thought. So when I first started Grateful Garden Project, and I ended up changing my degree track, I ended up getting my master's in nonprofit administration. So I did a lot of my thesis work around subject matter because I needed to know more information. And when I first started Grateful Garment Project, the state of California, their budget line item to support sexual assault response team facilities was $26,400 divided by the 58 counties of California. Okay, it's about $800 a county, which, you know, that doesn't pay for anything, especially in larger counties where they have multiple facilities, right? And over the years, the budgets have grown little bit. This past year, they put sexual violence in with domestic violence, and they gave it $25 million. The thing is that domestic violence was already receiving a lot of money, and we still don't know yet how that washes out, but clearly it's not enough money. It's not. That's a big reason why a lot of the rape kits, we had the whole backlog stuff on a national level, is just because there wasn't money to fund any of this. Okay, and if you're going to fund any and all of this, having something for people to wear home is like the last thought of it all. Anyways, I'm pretty sure my time's up. I'm getting the eye over there. I'm at the table. I'm going to hang out with you guys. Please come talk to me. Get information. Find out more. Get involved. Tell people. Thank you so much for your time.
Lisa, thank you so much for your talk, and thank you so much for the work that you do. That was really inspiring. As a token of our thanks, there we have our gift basket of bread from Richard.
And jelly.
It's a tomato sauce from Holly's Garden.